Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something so many of us feel but might not totally get, anxiety. We're going to break down what it is, why it happens, and most importantly, how you can start to change your relationship with it. Have you ever asked yourself this exact question? When your heart is just pounding or your mind is racing and you can't shut it off? Well, if you have, you are absolutely not alone. It's such a human question, and honestly, finding the answer is the first real step to feeling better.
So let's get one thing straight right from the very beginning. Having anxiety is not a personal flaw. It's not a sign that you're weak. A much better way to think about it is like this. It's an overactive safety system. It's your brain's ancient protective instinct just working a little bit of overtime in our crazy modern world.
Okay, so what is actually happening inside of us when we feel that wave of anxiety? Let's take a look under the hood at how this internal alarm system really works.
At its most basic level, anxiety is just your body's natural response to what it perceives as a threat. And that word, perceives, is everything. Your alarm system is designed to get you ready for danger, even if that danger is just a thought about an upcoming meeting or a tough conversation. And this alarm doesn't just go off in one place. Nope, it shows up in three main areas. You've got the worrisome thoughts, those classic what-if scenarios that play on a loop. You've got the uncomfortable emotions, like fear or just a general sense of unease. And then there are the physical reactions, the racing heart, the tight muscles, which are often the most noticeable part of the whole thing.
Okay, so why does this alarm system, which is supposed to protect us, get triggered so easily by things that aren't actually life-threatening? This part is so fascinating. The answer lies in our ancient evolutionary wiring.
Think about it. Your brain evolved for one primary purpose: to keep you alive. It's constantly on the lookout for danger, ready to flip that fight or flight switch in a split second. The only problem is, it applies that same saber-tooth tiger is chasing me level of intensity to things like work deadlines and crowded grocery stores.
And you know what the number one fuel for this system is? Uncertainty, the unknown. When your mind doesn't know what's coming next, its protective instinct is to try and fill in the blanks, and more often than not, it fills them with the worst-case scenario, which is basically the perfect recipe for anxiety. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. See, anxiety isn't just a one-and-done feeling. It can actually create a self-perpetuating cycle. It's a feedback loop that just feeds on itself, and it can spin out of control if we don't understand how it works.
This shows that loop perfectly. So it all starts with some kind of trigger, a thought, a situation. You interpret it as a threat, and your body reacts. But here's the kicker, the part that creates the whole cycle. You start focusing on the physical feelings themselves. You notice your racing heart, and the more you focus on it, the more your brain goes, "See, I told you, the danger must be real," which of course just makes your heart beat even faster.
Let's use a classic example, public speaking. The first thought is, what if I mess this up? Right on cue, your heart starts pounding. But then, the anxiety really spikes because you start worrying about the pounding heart itself. You think, oh no, everyone can see how nervous I am. And suddenly, the fear isn't just about the speech anymore, it's about the feeling of anxiety.
But here is the really good news. The goal isn't to somehow magically eliminate anxiety forever. It's about learning how to respond to it differently. So let's shift gears and talk about your toolkit, a few simple but really powerful strategies you can use to break that cycle. First up, your breath. It sounds almost too simple, but a technique like this, sometimes called box breathing, is incredibly powerful. Why? Because it sends a direct physical signal to your nervous system that you are safe. A long, slow exhale is one of the fastest ways to actively turn down the volume on that fight-or-flight response.
Next in the toolkit is something called grounding. And this is such a brilliant counterattack because anxiety almost always lives in the future, right? It's all about the land of what-ifs. Grounding techniques are designed to do one thing: yank your focus out of that imaginary future and plant it firmly in the present moment, right here, right now.
And a fantastic way to do this is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. You literally just stop and name 5 things you can see, then 4 things you can physically feel, 3 things you can hear, and so on. What you're doing is giving your brain a different job, forcing it to disengage from those what-if scenarios and pay attention to what's actually real in this moment. It's like a mental circuit breaker.
Now, beyond the in-the-moment techniques, there's a bigger, long-term shift that's so important. It's about moving from a mindset of, I need to know for sure what's going to happen, to one that says, you know what, I can handle whatever happens. It's a shift away from needing control and toward trusting yourself.
So if you take just one thing away from our time together, please let it be this. When you feel that wave of anxiety, try to remember what's really going on. It's your brain, with the best of intentions, trying to protect you. It's just that, well, it often way overestimates the actual danger.
And that brings us to this last big question. Understanding what anxiety is, that's the first huge step. So what might happen if you stopped fighting it so hard? What if, instead, you just noticed it, understood its protective purpose, and chose to respond to it differently? Because the moment you make that shift, that's the moment anxiety starts to lose its power over you.